Imagine a world without the wheel, without writing, without metal tools, where every journey is on foot and every story dies with its teller. Ancient inventors changed all that. They learned to grow plentiful food, to travel faster, to build bigger, and to preserve ideas for prosperity. Over thousands of years, across many civilizations, our ancestors sparked ingenious technologies that transformed human life. In this video, we'll travel from the Fertile Crescent to ancient China, from Egyptian waters to Roman roads, uncovering the greatest innovations of antiquity and how they paved the way for our modern world. Get ready for an epic journey of human creativity across the ages. Our story begins over 10,000 years ago, when humans first learned to farm. Planting seeds in irrigating fields meant a steady food supply for the first time. In the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia, farmers dug canals to direct river water onto their land, turning desert into farmland. Elsewhere, Egyptians tamed the Nile's floods with canals, while farmers in the Indus Valley and along the Yellow River in China built irrigation systems of their own. Harvests grew, and so did populations. Villages formed, then the first cities, all fueled by the bounty of agriculture. To boost production further, ancient Sumerians invented the plow, harnessing oxen to till the soil. These breakthroughs meant far bigger harvests with less labor. Surplus grain fed craftsmen, priests, and rulers, sparking a chain reaction. Specialization, trade, and the rise of civilization itself. From simple seeds in ditches sprang the great cities of antiquity, a true revolution powered by agriculture. The wheel may be the single most important invention in history. It first appeared around 3,500 before Common Era in Mesopotamia, initially as a potter's wheel. But before long, someone realized those discs could be used on carts. The first wheeled vehicles allowed people to haul heavy loads farther and faster than ever. By the 2000s before Common Era, horse-drawn chariots were thundering across battlefields, changing the face of war. The wheel enabled trade to expand and cultures to mingle. From Sumer to Indus to Europe, the idea spread. In fact, tiny wheeled toys from the Indus Valley from 2000 before Common Era show the wheel was reinvented elsewhere as well. In time, wagons and even machinery with gears all stem from that first simple idea. By letting us move things, and ourselves with ease, the wheel set civilization rolling forward. As societies grew complex, memory and oral tales were no longer enough. Around 3,200 before Common Era, the Sumerians began writing. At first, they etched simple pictographs and numbers into clay to record trades and taxes. Over time, those marks evolved into cuneiform symbols representing sounds and ideas. Writing was soon used to record laws, prayers, and stories, preserving information outside the human brain. One of the oldest known literary works, the Epic of Gilgamesh, was recorded in Sumerian cuneiform, a testament to the new power of the written word. Egypt developed its own hieroglyphic writing shortly after, and writing systems appeared independently in places like China and Mesoamerica. The advent of writing transformed the world. Rulers could govern through written laws, merchants could track debts, and knowledge could be passed down to future generations. With the written word, history itself could be recorded, and the ideas of one era could endure to inspire the next. Stone tools gave way to something stronger when humans entered the Bronze Age. Around 3,300 before Common Era, metal workers discovered that mixing copper with tin produced bronze. Bronze axes and plows meant forests could be cleared and fields tilled like never before. Meanwhile, bronze swords and armor dominated battlefields for centuries. But bronze depended on scarce tin, a metal so rare it spurred some of the first long-distance trade networks. By 1,200 before Common Era, a new innovation emerged: forging iron. Iron ore was common, but required higher heat to smelt. Once ancient smiths mastered that, iron tools and weapons became more widespread. Early iron was brittle compared to bronze, but soon smiths learned to carburize it. adding carbon to create steel, an even tougher material. Iron and steel weaponry gave armies superior arms, and iron farm tools helped empires feed growing populations. From bronze sickles that reaped the first harvest to iron swords that toppled kingdoms, metallurgy fundamentally shifted the balance of power in the ancient world. Water was the ancient superhighway. The invention of the sail allowed ships to harness wind and conquer distance. Egyptians were sailing the Nile by 3,500 before Common Era, moving goods and stone far more easily than over land. Coastal peoples soon braved open seas. The Phoenicians, for example, navigated the Mediterranean by sun and stars, spreading goods and the alphabet to new lands. Still, long voyages were risky without a reliable guide. The Chinese changed that with the magnetic compass. As early as 200 before Common Era, they discovered that a lodestone or magnetized needle would consistently point north-south. By the 11th century Common Era, the compass was being used for navigation in China, and it reached Europe by the 1300s. Now, even on cloudy days or starless nights, sailors could find their way. This breakthrough ushered in the great ages of exploration. Ships laden with compass and sail connected continents, carrying spices, ideas, and cultures across oceans. The world's map opened up, and once isolated societies were linked, all thanks to ancient advances in shipbuilding and navigation. To hold great empires together, infrastructure was key. The Romans excelled at this like no one before. They built over 50,000 miles of paved roads throughout their empire, enabling armies and merchants to travel from one end of Europe to the other in weeks instead of months. All roads lead to Rome was nearly true. These highways helped turn Rome into the center of a vast connected civilization. The Romans also elevated city life with fresh water. Their towering aqueducts carried water from distant sources into cities. By the 1st century Common Era, Rome was served by 11 major aqueduct lines, supplying public baths, fountains, and households with abundant water. This meant healthier, cleaner, and larger cities than ever before. And underpinning many of Rome's structures was their invention of concrete. By 200 before Common Era, Roman engineers had a formula of lime and volcanic ash that could harden into stone even underwater. This allowed them to create architectural marvels like the Pantheon's dome, which still stands nearly 2,000 years later, and massive bridges and harbors. Roman roads, aqueducts, and concrete buildings were so well built that many still survive today, a testament to ancient engineering. These technologies changed daily life in antiquity and set a standard for infrastructure that future societies strove to match. For centuries, writing surfaces were clunky and expensive. Clay tablets, stone, or bamboo strips. One Chinese scholar's book collection reportedly required carts to transport before paper was invented. The Chinese changed that forever with the invention of paper. Around 105 Common Era, court official Kai Lun created paper from mulberry bark, old rags, and fishing nets. The result was a lightweight, foldable, cheap medium for writing. And suddenly, knowledge could spread more easily. Paper-making techniques spread out of China to Korea and Japan by the 7th century, and by the 8th century, across Central Asia and into the Islamic world. Suddenly, vast libraries and literate populations became possible. Scholars in Baghdad, monks in Europe, all eventually adopted paper for books and records, massively accelerating learning. No longer limited by heavy clay or costly silk, ideas now flowed freely on paper. This simple invention became the backbone of bureaucracy, literature, and education for 2 millennia and counting. Every book, newspaper, or banknote today owes a debt to that first sheet of paper that brought knowledge within everyone's reach. In the 9th century, Chinese alchemists accidentally created a substance that would reshape warfare and the world. They were seeking an elixir of immortality, but instead concocted gunpowder, a mix of saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal that burns fiercely. Initially used for fireworks and signals, it soon found its way into weapons as well. By the 10th century, the Chinese were firing rudimentary rockets and explosive bombs. The technology spread west via traders and Mongol armies, reaching Europe by the 13th century. There, it utterly transformed military power. Cannon fire could shatter castle walls that had stood for ages. Handheld firearms rendered the armored knight obsolete. Strategies in warfare evolved overnight into the gunpowder era. Beyond the battlefield, gunpowder enabled mining and engineering feats once impossible. But its most immediate impact was the end of medieval siege warfare and the dawn of modern armies. By the 15th century, nearly every major civilization, from Europe to the Middle East to Asia, was armed with gunpowder, cannons, and guns, forever altering the balance of global power. From China's fire medicine to the cannons of Europe, gunpowder blasted humanity into a new age, for better or worse. The invention of printing unleashed an information revolution. Centuries before it touched Europe, the Chinese had developed woodblock printing by the 7th century to duplicate texts and images. By 1040 Common Era, they even invented movable type. Artisan Bi Sheng created reusable clay characters. Though China's thousands of characters made this less practical at the time, the idea would find its moment in Europe. But it was Johann Gutenberg's printing press of 1440 that truly turned the page of history. Gutenberg's machine used metal movable type and a screw press to print pages far faster than any scribe. For the first time, books could be mass-produced at relatively low cost. A single press could churn out thousands of pages a day. By 1500, over 1,000 presses in Europe had printed millions of books. And by 1600, more than 200 million new volumes circulated, making information available on a scale never seen before. The effect was dramatic. Books and pamphlets flooded into circulation. Literacy spread beyond the elite. The Renaissance blossomed with new ideas, and the Protestant Reformation spread like wildfire thanks largely to printed pamphlets and Bibles. Knowledge was no longer confined to monasteries or royal courts. It was in the hands of anyone who could read. The printing press democratized learning and debate, setting the stage for the scientific revolution and the modern knowledge economy. So, every time you read a book or scroll through a web page, you're benefiting from the profound legacy of the printing revolution that began in ancient China and culminated with Gutenberg. From the first irrigation canals to the first compasses, these ancient technologies became the building blocks of civilization. Each innovation sparked the next. Farming led to cities. Writing led to libraries. Wheels opened roads. Our modern world is built on this foundation. It's amazing to think that thousands of years ago, people with none of our modern tools nevertheless solved problems and created tools that we still use or build upon today. Ancient technology isn't just dusty artifacts in museums. It's living heritage in our phones, our buildings, our daily routines. Every time we turn on a faucet or start a car, we're tapping into ancient ingenuity, whether it's a Roman aqueduct or the first wheel. In China, papermaking, the compass, gunpowder, and printing are known as the 4 great inventions. And indeed, these, alongside the wheel, the plow, concrete, and so many others, propelled humanity forward in profound ways. As we marvel at today's cutting-edge inventions, we should remember we're part of a continuum. The inventors of long ago lit the torches that we carry forward. What new wonders will we pass on to the future? Only time will tell. But if history is any guide, human ingenuity will always find a way to reshape the world. If you enjoyed this journey through history's greatest inventions, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories. Let us know in the comments which ancient innovation impressed you the most. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video!